If you have a question on Zoom, go ahead and hit that raise hand function button for us so we can see it. Otherwise, we're going to begin in the room, starting on this side with Jeremiah Oshan. The mic is coming to you over your left shoulder or your front.
Well, Brian, congratulations. I'm sure it must feel good to get the weight of that streak off of your shoulders. You didn't necessarily make it easy on yourselves, but I don't know, what are the overall emotions coming out of that win?
Great for the fans. A little bit of redemption. Although since 1975, I think we have 58 wins. We're way ahead in that overall. You know, MLS, it was close. I think we were tied tonight, but now we jumped one game ahead. Yeah, there was a little bit of a losing streak here, so that wasn't the most important thing here, Jeremiah. The important thing was for our guys to play a complete game, a 90-minute game. And look, I'm not so sure that, you know, some of the moments in the second half. And look, you got to credit Phil and Portland. They made it an interesting game. They attacked with everything, but, you know, we had some chances, some half chances. We had some, you know, things go our way. Could have been two, would have made our lives a little easier, or we could have slowed the tempo down a little bit and, you know, possessed the ball to close out the game. But it was an exciting, intense game. You know, shows why this is the best rivalry in MLS.
Yeah, Ethan.
Coach, not only stopping the home losing streak against the Timbers, but also that four-match winless streak since the Leagues Cup Finals. Feels like a swing in momentum at all in the season with the playoffs right around the corner.
Well, let's see what happens after RSL, and then we got a tough game away at New York City FC. So before we start talking about momentum, let's just talk about the intensity that the players brought, that they showed in the last two games. If they can play with that intensity, the results, I know you guys are judging us, the team, based on results, but if the team plays with that intensity, I think we have a good chance.
All right, anything on this side? Yep, go right here.
Brian, congratulations. Big to pick up a shutout, first shutout in 7 MLS matches. You held Portland to around 0.5 XG. Talk about really the ability to control the tempo in this game throughout.
Everybody keeps reminding me of how bad we are. Yeah, I mean, Steph's save in the first half was really, really good. You know, the defending there at the end, Nuhu, who sometimes can, you know, lose a little thing, but he had some calm moments at the end of the game. You know, I think it was good to get a clean sheet. And again, you know, it wasn't for the lack of effort by Portland. They tried, but, you know, tonight the game just went in our favor. They had some half chances that could have developed into something else, but it didn't. So credit to the guys in there. You know, Jackson. I'll do a shout out to Jonathan Bell because Kim Ki-hee came off with a tight calf. And I always say, next man up. And Jonathan Bell, what does he do? What has he done all season long? You know, when he's called upon, he's ready and has a good game.
George.
Coach, I was wondering if you've been watching the Under-20 World Cup and if you maybe saw some players that you could recommend for the Under-22
Craig's in the back of the room.
Initiative. Yeah, that's probably more for him. And yeah, your next game is going to be really hard because you're going to have a lot of players missing. So if you could have an update on the injuries to Jesus and Kim Ki-hee.
Jesus was cramping, and I said Kim Ki-hee has some tightness in his left calf. That's all we know right now. We won't speculate, but, you know, every game in MLS is hard. There's no easy games, especially at this time of year.
All right, we'll go to Diego next.
Buenas, felicitaciones por el triunfo.
Thank you.
¿Tiene algún comentario respecto al arbitraje que en varios pasajes del partido el árbitro sancionó perjudicando al Sanders?
Congrats on the win, Coach. Do you have any comments on the refereeing today? It seemed like in many moments of the match there were some calls that were against Sounders more constantly.
I don't have any comments about the referees. If you're talking about Albert's red card, if you look at it, it was not intentional, but Albert does catch his ankle. If you're talking about some of the fouls, it's a rivalry game. I don't think the referee had a impact in the outcome of the game.
En realidad no tengo ningún comentario con respecto a los árbitros. Si te refieres en particular a la tarjeta roja, yo creo que lo de Albert no fue intencional, sin embargo, sí lo llegó a tocar. Y con respecto a los fouls, es un partido típico de rivalidad fuerte, pero creo que el árbitro no tuvo ningún tipo de influencia sobre el resultado final.
De nada.
Yep, we'll come to the front row right here.
Hey, Coach. So you talked about evaluating Pedro based on how he looks, playing a sustained game out there. Got a lot of minutes today. Before you get a chance to really go over it, what did you think about how he looked on that knee?
Good. You can tell he has a little hitch in his step, and that's just, I think that might be his new normal for the remainder of the year. But he was able to gut it out, and he was playing well, so that's why we increased his minutes into the second half. The medical staff and the sports guys, they were keeping close tabs on him. But, it wasn't just the goal that he scored. There were a lot of other good soccer plays that he had, and, he was doing the work. He was doing what I asked, getting back. Ball's on the opposite side of the field. He's got a pinch in, so he had a good performance.
All right, we'll swing back around here. Noah, we'll go to you next, and then Jeremiah, see your follow-up.
Congrats on the win, Coach. Jesus Ferreira stepping into that 10 position tonight. I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on his play.
Good. Finds passes. The passes that he sees are good ones. Sometimes the execution isn't always there, but he sees it. And I love players that have good vision. So he is a talented soccer player, very talented. And we were, happy that Craig could steal him from Dallas.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, Albert played back a line. It looked like he had a fair amount of freedom in there. But if you could just sort of assess his overall game and also what you made of the tackle, because on one hand it looked like it was a good hustle play to get back and break up a counter, but on the other, obviously he picks up the red.
When you see it, you can make your determination and write it on your site. But my opinion was it was unintentional. What Albert was trying to do was kind of hook slide and bring the ball back, but he did catch the guy's ankle. So that's that. As far as his play is concerned, he was very good, and did he sacrifice part of his game to move back a line? I don't know if I would say sacrifice. I would just say Albert's a team player. And, he did it in 2022 next to JP. So he kind of knew the demands of the position. And the tactics were, in our buildup of 3-2, if we're able to extend the possessions and we get higher up the field, Albert was rotating in some of those spaces in between the lines. So it was Albert and then Jesus and then Alex, and then they would kind of interchange. So it was pretty effective in many moments of the game.
We'll take two more. Nico, I see you on Zoom. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hey, Brian. Danny Mazowski had a couple close chances and a moment with Paul Rothrock on that one opportunity in the second half. So just want to get your take on his performance.
Moose came on and was a lot of energy, a lot of hustle, did the defending. Now, coming on as a sub, sometimes it's not easy to feel the rhythm of the game, the flow of the game, but Danny did a great job there. You know, some of his decision-making, I don't think he saw Paul on that, you know. Look, in games like that, when the game's stretched, the goal gets bigger. And Moose has his foot on the ball, and he's a goal scorer, so he's looking at that. Maybe he could have played Paul for a tap-in. But those are things he'll look at on the film, and he'll learn from it. You know, the learning curve there for the group is, again, how do we stay composed in critical moments of the game, whether that's first 10 minutes of a game, right before halftime, you know, towards the end of the game. How did we close out that game? And Danny checked a lot of boxes with his hustle and his defending and his effort and his application.
George, close us out.
Coach, speaking about Pedro's presence on the team, it seems like that when he plays, the Sounders get better results. Is that just a coincidence? Is there some data to back his
Well, you guys can
presence
look
on the
that
team?
up. Noah can look that up on his webcast, podcast, Nos Adietos, or whatever you call it. Okay, Lobbing Scorcher, same thing, sorry. You guys can do all that digging. Right now, I'm going to go back and enjoy this moment with a bunch of happy soccer players and a bunch of happy coaches, especially my good friend Tommy Dutra, because we don't like the Timbers, and this was very cathartic for us.
Back to your regularly scheduled webcast. We'll see all of you later. Locker room's open.